welcome to episode 18 of Brewed Opinions. We're coming at you here for another great week. Lots of wrestling action. We got Raw on Netflix happened this week, KT. We have SmackDown. We have 2 new NXT champions. It's been a hell of a week, man. What's going on?
Not much, man. Just getting through the first week back after vacation, back to work.
Oh.
Been a little bit busy, but, I'm trying to fill in and watch the wrestling when I could. I got to see Netflix on Raw, and I got to, Raw on Netflix, and I got to see SmackDown last night, so that was good. I didn't get to see the NXT, but you told me a little bit about what happened to that. So, but no, it was interesting. I think the Raw on Netflix was presentation-wise, I thought was a really cool thing, man.
It was, and we have a new tribal chief, or we have the one and only tribal chief.
The one and only OTC is back.
I mean, the beginning of Raw on Netflix, it was awesome. Production quality was there. The drones, the arena was phenomenal.
The arena itself was its own story it's almost like the Sphere in Vegas. I can imagine what WWE would be like doing like that, but the interaction with all the lights and the digital presence was awesome.
There was a lot of stuff going on. The show itself was just okay. A couple good matches, but as far as the presentation, it was basically a PLE. It was a one-night event, and now they have to get into the episodic.
Yeah, I agree with that because, as far as storylines and stuff go, they kind of kept some of it, up to what was going on and everything, but it really felt like it's just own separate thing from everything. Not even like a PLE. It just felt like, the introduction with Triple H in the beginning, and then The Rock coming out. It was.
Let's start at the beginning.
Yeah.
That whole video that they put out with the cloth around the ring, and Triple H was in there. That was pretty cool. But we started with Tribal Combat.
Yep.
I think we've basically stuck a fork in Solo, officially. There's no claim to anything that he can have anymore. He's been destroyed 2 times in a row now. I don't know where they go from this. And the whole presence of The Rock, his demeanor, that was not the final boss.
No.
And that told me right there that Roman and Rock's not happening at WrestleMania.
No, it's not happening at WrestleMania. And it was that's what I meant by it. I didn't mean to say, didn't feel like an episode of Raw, because of course it was. But The Rock was, there as, board member.
Yeah, like an ambassador. He was, and he's...
he's sucking up to Cody.
Yeah,
last time we saw them in the ring, there's this whole thing. We don't even know what he whispered in his ear.
Very, very confusing. And then there was internet video on Instagram that went out that showed him and Cody backstage drinking tequila, and it was just
Yeah, we get it. We know they're friends in real life. We know,
And I even saw some of the comments on that video, that's cool stuff, but we don't want to see that.
No.
You don't want to see that, especially between those two guys.
The last time we saw Rock and Cody in the ring together, it was after WrestleMania, and The Rock said, we still have unfinished business, and he gave him something that we have no idea what that is. And it's and now it's tell Mama Rhodes I said hi. Yeah. And funny moment. Rock's great on the mic and everything. But it was just so I felt like they did a lot of this on Monday night. Mm-hmm. And maybe we are at the point, and we've been saying it, like I said a couple weeks ago, it just feels stagnant. You're right. They've just destroyed Solo. And to me, the new bloodline, as far as that goes, I know we'll get to SmackDown later on.
You have a superstar in Jacob Fatu.
Right, and SmackDown, we'll talk about that when we get there, because the new bloodline did announce their presence a little bit. Well, 2 members. Just
Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu, which I have a kind of a prediction, or as Heyman says, a spoiler. Mm-hmm. We'll get into that, but let's put it into the tribal chief, the Ulafala. There was so many opportunities, we talked about in this podcast, for something to happen. And I was actually on the edge of my seat thinking something was going to happen.
They kept teasing it.
Heyman's walk into the ring.
Oh, I thought it was happening
there.
And
it was he was looking at Solo. And then The Rock came in, and it's is Rock really going to put it around his neck?
He puts it on his neck and then hugs him, and he tells him he loves him in his ear. And I thought, well, there's the rock bottom. Yeah. I thought for sure we were going to see a rock bottom.
There was just so many things, and it just didn't happen. Now, and the one thing that did happen is Solo's claim to be a leader is done.
Yes.
Like, that story cannot continue.
Mm-hmm.
He has been destroyed in War Games, and now he's been destroyed in individual tribal combat, which in their culture, that's it.
And was missing from SmackDown.
That's it. Yep. And maybe they're going to give him some needed time off. Yeah. Which maybe he has carried this story with Roman getting his time off for a while. And you got to give him credit. He's did probably more than you could ever imagine Solo doing.
I'm impressed by Solo. I think he's got a bright future.
I think he's grown through this. I mean, I think that I don't know what my prediction, or as Heyman says, this is not a prediction, this is a spoiler. I think that we're going to see kind of the original bloodline with the Usos, Sammy, and Roman, and I think you're going to come across the same dissension that there's always been. Roman's going to get into that big head. He's going to turn heel again, and he's going to end up separating from that bloodline. And don't be surprised if he ends up having Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga and Solo back under him.
I mean, and if you think about all the things they can do, the one way they can rebuild Solo is, give him a couple months off. Yeah. Maybe not a couple months. A month or two.
WrestleMania.
Wait till the right moment.
Or... there a lot of things can happen in the Royal Rumble. We got everybody on the roster, legends of the past, declaring for the Rumble. Mm-hmm. There's only 30 spots, and we've already heard 3 of them. Roman Reigns declared,
and a big one on Friday night.
Roman Reigns declared to be in, so because he wants his title back with Cody. So are they going to try to push that as a 3rd year in a row main event, or do you have Solo come in, eliminate Roman? I mean, there's a lot of things that you could have. John Cena's back. Good, great. He announces, but do you really want to see John Cena win the Royal Rumble?
And just like we always talk about, it's great that Cena's going to be in the Rumble, but why announce it? Just have him there on Monday night.
I feel like WWE gets themselves in these situations, like they're afraid that nobody's going to watch. So
what are you talking about?
But that's what I'm saying. It's like they get afraid and they have to announce people. Where us as a fan, I want to be surprised. I'm tuning into the Royal Rumble because I'm going to expect 5 guys that I would never even thought of to be there.
Right.
And now I know Cena's going to be there.
Yeah, we know Cena's
why even announce Roman? Just let Roman be out there.
Yeah.
But you have a lot of layers. You have the possibility of Randy Orton coming back. Mm-hmm. What if Randy wins the Rumble?
True.
And goes, I'm going to go for Cody.
Right.
That whole storyline. And I love... we have it pulled up on the screen here. Last night, Cody and KO running through the arena several different times.
That thing's heating up to be pretty good. And who knows if it's going to continue on past the Rumble? But like you said, RKO.
I think this is a stopgap.
Yeah.
Between something bigger.
They're gonna do a big, huge ladder match. Probably gonna have some big moments. Yeah, RKO winning makes sense too, and saying Cody, there's all kinds of different directions that they can do this stuff with, and it'll be interesting to see. I feel like we're just in this whole reset.
It's time to ramp up.
They got
Monday night needs to be last night kind of was.
Yeah, so
Monday night needs to be okay. We're on Netflix now. Everybody knows it.
Right.
We're pushing towards Rumble on the 1st.
Yeah.
We're pushing towards Elimination Chamber on March 1st. And we're pushing to WrestleMania on April 10th or whatever it is. So, now it's time to push forward to it. A lot of, moving on in that Raw Netflix, this week in the WWE, we got a lot of new champions.
Yeah.
And we got a new women's champion, probably a deserved women's champion, and Rhea Ripley finally getting that title back.
Yeah, that was awesome. And you know what? Just going along with what happened at the end of that match, Undertaker coming out.
Yeah. And
in support of Rhea. And, he was the first main event on the first original Raw, so I thought that was very cool that they paid homage to him.
That was really cool. They
came back as the badass, though, too.
Yeah, American Badass usually comes back
which
as the
makes sense with Rhea,
Yeah, and it didn't seem like Rhea knew that was happening.
Yeah.
She even looked in the camera and said, I didn't see this coming. And sometimes I think they capture those genuine moments sometimes. I think that there's a potential here of a relationship between Undertaker and Rhea as far as a partnership. I saw some things online that I thought were very interesting because there was a lot of rumored things that were supposed to happen in this Netflix Raw that didn't happen. Mm-hmm. one of the biggest things was I thought we were going to see a presence from the Wyatt Six and a potential Alexa Bliss return. And I could see an Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley situation because I don't know if they're going to continue to live because it's going on a while. And that was all to get her belt back, and now she's got it back.
Right.
So where does that leave Rhea and Liv even for WrestleMania? You've got a lot of female wrestlers supposedly returning with Charlotte and rumors of Becky. But like, if Alexa Bliss comes back as part of the Wyatt Six, and she gets into a program with Rhea Ripley, could we see some kind of? I saw something online that really piqued my interest this week: a casket match with Undertaker as the guest referee.
Really, that would be cool.
That's WWE is famous for sticking these legends in the WrestleMania. They've gotten pretty good lately in not having them wrestle. Mm-hmm. They've been kind of like, other than The Rock last year, but right. Rock held his own. Yeah. But there's been a lot of times where they bring back these guys that they had no business being in the ring anymore.
Well, that would be cool because I'm sure the Undertaker would like to be a part of something for just a little bit, and if he can be a part of a story and get back. I guess what I'm trying to say is I think we finally got. I think now we're moving forward, like you just said, and they were at the end of the year. It's always leading into WrestleMania is when the new set goes. They have a new show on Netflix. SmackDown's going to 3 hours. We talked earlier about how SmackDown's roster needs to be filled because everybody's bailed ship and gone to Raw. You were saying that there's NXT people probably coming up.
I think that WWE, just like when SmackDown went to Fox, they moved the big-time players to SmackDown. Right. Now we're going to Raw. Everybody's going back to Raw.
And I think, so Raw's going to be the event. SmackDown's going to be the wrestling show. And that's what they kind of did last night. Good long matches, championships on the line. Yeah. It was a wrestling show last night.
It was 3 hours. You had a lot of stuff going on. They're setting up. They're starting to tell the storylines. I thought, on the other side of the women's side, now that we're officially in Tiffy time, which I love it. She deserves it. And I love to see they had that fatal 4-way number one contendership last night, and I was so happy that it wasn't Nia. Yeah. I'm not a fan of Bayley either, but I was I feel like they're finally get it. They're moving on from Nia. Yeah. Nia doesn't need to be in that picture anymore.
No, but she's been there for a little bit, so it's
and Tiffy and Bayley could be great. I don't know when that match is going to happen, if they're going to hold it off to the Rumble, but there's a lot of scenarios that can come back with Charlotte Flair and Tiffy. Set up that WrestleMania match. What are they going to do with Elimination Chamber for the women? It's what belt is it going to be for? Because now with 2 belts and everything, but I thought that I was really happy to see, no ill will against anybody, but I was really happy to see someone else getting in that picture with Tiffy and not be Nia.
Yeah, me too. I'm not the biggest Bayley fan. I would have liked to see Bianca win it, but they got the tag belt, so that wasn't going to make sense.
And I don't think that story's over with Jade.
Right.
I'm a believer that Jade was attacked either by Bianca or Naomi. Right. Or possibly both.
Well, Naomi seems to get to be the tag champs now because something
missing. Weird's there.
Yeah. So
I know we've kind of got off of Raw, but I just kind of was thinking about the Tiffy situation. And the women's division could shape up to be really good.
Staying on the women's division, too, it's so going to these 3-hour shows now, they've added 2 belts to the women's division. Yeah. With the new U.S. belt and the Intercontinental belt, right? Isn't that what they added?
A women's Intercontinental and a women's U.S.
Yeah, so, it's cool to see. They've obviously had a plan. This Netflix
knew that they on were Raw
have to fill time. Was going to be a whole new direction. Triple H said it. Opening statements. Yeah. This is the Netflix era. Yeah.
And both sides, both shows went to 3 hours. Right. They were 2 hours for the longest time. Right. So they have to fill that spot. And that'll get us kind of into our next topic after Raw, getting into the NXT New Year's Evil, because I think that answered some questions that we talked about last week. But just to kind of put a cap on Raw on Netflix, we had the huge main event. I mean, I know we had Drew's match. There was a lot of things that I thought were supposed to be on the show that ended up getting pushed.
Yeah, and it just
even the Women's Intercontinental Championship was supposed to be crowned, and now that's next week. Penta was supposed to make his debut, and now they've already kind of teased that Chad Gable's going to fight a legendary luchador.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be Penta. They've already announced that he's signed. That's going to be amazing. They thought that it was going to be like Penta versus Ray. But, dude, Penta coming to WWE, people got to really know, like, he's been an international guy, AAA, Mexico, all that stuff, and people got to really find out who he was on AEW. You know, now he's really going to get to be known coming to the WWE, and I think it's brilliant to put him in the ring against Chad Gable because that's going to be a phenomenal match. Chad Gable's technical lucha libre style with Penta, that's going to be great. So that was a match that was supposed to happen. You know, you didn't see any Wyatt Six.
Haven't they almost taken the mystique away from the White Six with letting Final Judgment beat them?
Well, it's...
Or Final Testament.
It's letting them to lose to anybody.
Right. You just take away the mystique.
The mystique. And like, I saw some things, I was reading some things that everybody wants to see Uncle Howdy and Bo Dallas come back as just, you know, all serious business. None of this cynical laugh, like... I'm here to destroy people, like they did that first night when it looked like they murdered the whole roster.
Right.
And they have literally lost their way on that. Now, maybe now that we're in 3 hours, I don't even know if they're going to be on Netflix or SmackDown.
Right.
We don't know. But the main event is what I think... The Tribal Combat and the main event were the two things I think everybody was looking forward to the most.
And Rhea Liv.
Yeah, Rhea Liv, which I don't think anybody was surprised that Rhea won that match. But I do think that the match that really probably stole the show was Seth CM Punk.
You knew that was going to be awesome. Yeah. And the fact that it took 2 go to sleeps to put Seth out.
I don't think it can be over now, though.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't either. And I mean, and so that was just a feud match. I mean, there's no belt or anything like that. So... I mean, are those two going to be in the Rumble? Are they going to screw each other over, and that's how it keeps going in their thing? I mean, how...
Do we not? Well, I don't think you can not see him because you have time to fill.
It'll be interesting to see how Seth comes out Monday night. What his reaction is to losing, or how CM Punk comes out.
One of those two should lead the show off.
I believe so, too. I think whichever way they go, I mean, Seth has every right to be pissed, but CM Punk beat him fair and square.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no shenanigans in the match. He just caught him at the right time, put him out, and so it'll be interesting to see. I don't think we're going to know the direction of that, but I hope they don't end that storyline. Like, I hope that's not just like
well, I don't think either one of them. I don't think either one of them is going to want to end that storyline. I mean, look at what. What
was telling too is because after CM Punk pinned Rollins, to me, I was just rewatching it. When he gets the pin, he buries his face into Rollins' chest, and we all know that's how they communicate with each other. And I think it was like with all the buildup of like what in real life they like each other or not, and in the story in the ring, I think he was like, this was awesome, and we could really do some good shit here going forward. I truly believe he said some stuff to Seth.
Speaking of two guys that should be in a ladder match, probably two of those two guys.
Yeah.
Let alone KO and Cody, but like look at all the matches that Drew and CM Punk put together in their feud. You know, not only did they have the Hell in a Cell match, but they had the bull rope match in Scotland or whatever, and they had the this could be a couple month situation,
and I believe it's going to be even better with Rollins and Punk than even with Drew, and that was phenomenal. But Rollins is on another level compared to Drew. CM Punk's best in the world. I mean, this is what everybody's been wanting since Punk left. And everything. It's like, let's see this go before either one of them go back towards the belts. Let's have a really good dragged out this new Netflix era. Let's see what Netflix is going to bring as far as like on-screen entertainment and matches and feuds and all that stuff. I think it could be really good, and I hope they continue.
He's got the hands.
Oh yeah, I'm fucking firing off on all cylinders, man.
But leading into these 3-hour shows, we talked about it last week of how they need to start bringing superstars in to fill these spots.
Oh, speaking of that, another major announcement they made the other night Logan Paul's coming back as a full-time member on Raw.
And all systems are pointing to Logan and Gunther.
That'd be awesome. I'm a firm believer in Logan. Like when he first came in, I was like, "What a joke this is gonna be." That guy proved himself over and over and over again.
Logan Paul is probably the best "quote unquote" celebrity guest person that has ever wrestled. Him and Bad Bunny have found a way to, but Logan Paul is better than Bad Bunny. But both those guys, as being celebrities, to come in and actually be able to wrestle a little bit. Logan Paul has done some unbelievable things off the top of the cage, off the top of the rings, the spot with Ricochet, with the spear in the middle. Like, he's done some pretty interesting things. So I think Logan Paul Gunther is what you're going to see at WrestleMania.
And he's a great character because he built his own fame outside of being a character. Like,
and Gunther needs something to get him back.
There's... Like we keep talking about, I keep beating it over and over again. I think now we're going to start seeing the new direction. I think they had to finish everything up into this new Netflix era.
Monday night's a big night. Monday night is a big night.
Yep, Monday night is a big night. Friday night, after this past Raw, continued that. I think, like you said, and we just said a couple minutes ago, I do think Raw is going to be your big spectacle. SmackDown's going to be the true wrestling show. Yeah. I think you're going to get more wrestling, for wrestling fans, they always seem to do that. One is one and one is the other.
I think that, you're going to see the spectacle of Netflix. And Triple H has said, there's no time constraints, no time limits of what Raw can be. He said it could be a 40-minute show or a 4-hour show.
Yeah, if we go over it, we're not held under contract. Commercial contracts. Raw's got to be done at this time.
Yeah. I think that what we're getting ready to see, we're going to see a lot of new faces getting a shot. We're Tuesday night at New Year's Evil was a big night. My prediction came right. Trick Williams lost the belt to Obafemi, who's now your champion. And Julia won the women's belt. So you've got two champions. I mean, Trick Williams, I called it last week. He's probably going to be on SmackDown. And he's got big-time history with Carmelo Hayes. And I feel like that is a perfect thing that they could both get into because Carmelo Hayes has kind of been in a weird spot since he became on the roster. He had the great 7-match series with Andrade. He's been in some things with LA Knight, but I think that him and Trick Williams could do something nice. If Trick Williams shows up, could be a Royal Rumble thing. Carmelo could be in the Royal Rumble and Trick Williams comes out, and that could start the whole thing. But I was not surprised with either champions losing on New Year's Evil because I thought both of them are due to be on the main roster.
Yeah, and they do that every year. Like it's rite of passage, you dominate in NXT, you hold the championship for a while, eventually you're going to lose it, and that just means that you're moving up to the main card, which is actually...
Last year was Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen it for years and years and years now with watching NXT and everything, and the roster, the thing that's cool about it is it brings new life into the main card on both shows, and you get to see new superstars emerge. They get to see if they can take it from NXT and make it on the big card, I
thought the spot with The Rock at New Year's Evil with his daughter being the GM, I thought the spot with Ethan Page was very telling, like giving him that confidence because Ethan Page's whole deal right now is he's very disheveled and he can't believe what's happening in his career, how he's losing and things like that. And if you know that him and Obafemi had that in the Gauntlet survival match that they had. Him and Obafemi had a great 5 minutes in the penalty box where Obafemi just beat him up. And I think that Ethan Page could be the guy that challenges Obafemi. I think he's seasoned. He comes from AEW. He's one of those guys. He's got the size because Obafemi is a big dude. And I think that's a great feud moving forward. I think Ethan Page can bring it on the mic where Obafemi may not be everything that we want as far as on the mic, but certainly something special.
But it's all still growing. I mean, And that's the point of NXT is like that's where you develop, and he's obviously got time to develop. Now he's the champ; he's gonna have to develop those skills if he wants to get raised up on the card. And it's exciting. Like we're starting the new year. The new year's kicked off, and like now we have like a full new era of wrestling to get into. I think it's awesome, man. Like whatever expectations we had for Netflix on Raw, it was a great show. Was it everything that we thought it might have been? No, but it was entertaining. It was beautiful to watch. I mean, the resolution on the screen now, it's like 8K or whatever that we're at
5K,
now.
I think.
Oh my gosh, it's unbelievable. It's like I'm just excited. I thought SmackDown was good. I think we're probably start talking about that. Like
we got Cody and KO going through the table right now to end the show last night. I mean, that's.
Well, that kicked off with what Cody and Paul Heyman in the ring.
Yep.
I thought it was great when KO came out.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you listen to what KO was saying, he's like, first you side with Roman. He goes, and then you let The Rock you're just gal palling with The Rock. Basically, was what he was saying. He's like, this is why I'm the way I am. And it's like KO. The one thing KO is he's unhinged a lot of times, but he believes his truth, man. Like.
I know my truth.
Yeah. KO's awesome.
Last night, like, I really like what, what happened with the Motor City Machine Guns. They became the number one contendership match to face DIY. That's going to be great.
Yep.
Those four guys go way back to Indie days, Ring of Honor. To have those four guys, they must be kicking themselves. So they're going to probably
like, hey, we're here. Can you imagine?
They're going to probably wrestle at Royal Rumble.
Yeah. We've worked all these years. We've talked about this all the time when we talk about the PWR, the independent thing that we're going to and seeing now locally. And it's like to imagine being there now, finally all working together.
Yeah. In
the biggest promotion on the planet, and I think it's phenomenal, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the Motor City Machine Guns have been journeyman wrestlers, spent a lot of time in TNA, the old X Division, which, in the six-sided ring, and when they joined up to be the Motor City Machine Guns, they actually took that away from the company, went to Ring of Honor before Ring of Honor was purchased by AEW, but so many things with Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. Like, Tommaso Ciampa used to be the Ring of Honor TV champion freaking 20 years ago. Like, Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, I mean, these guys were TNA originals.
Yep.
X Division originals. That X Division with Alex Shelley, that original X Division with Alex Shelley, AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Sanjay Dutt. Like, you had all those guys, Chris Sabin. I mean, those guys were is what made TNA exciting to watch.
Yeah, they were doing all kinds of crazy shit. And then they started
to get Christian Cage, Kurt Angle with the huge first major guy to come over to TNA. And then it kind of blossomed from there with Sting and the Main Event Mafia with Hogan and all that stuff started to happen.
Yeah, Jeff Jarrett over there at that time.
Jeff Jarrett he's one of the original, he helped, him and Dixie Carter basically created TNA.
Yeah.
So there's so much history with Motor City Machine Guns and DIY. Like, there could be something special between those four. We could be seeing a nice feud, and even on Raw, I mean...
And we've seen what DIY's done. If you don't know their past before WWE, look at the story that was told with them in NXT.
Yeah.
I mean, that was some great stuff at that time.
Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano storyline in NXT to this day might be one of the best stories ever told.
They were the tag team, then they broke up.
I remember when Tommaso Ciampa just snapped.
Yep.
And everybody was in shock, and he beat the hell out of Gargano. And everybody was just
because they were the most over tag team in NXT.
And this is when NXT was rivaling better content than Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah.
And they had to draw it all. Vince was not liking it.
Yeah.
And he had to take it all back to a studio show, basically.
This is back when H was still was there running the things, and H built a program so good down there That it did. I mean,
it was unbelievable.
I would rather watch NXT back then than watch the main cards.
Yeah.
Because there was so much better stuff going on with, like, turns and just the matches were phenomenal. They had great young talent coming over from all these other promotions, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, SmackDown started to lay the foundation down for what's about to happen. LA Knight gets attacked by Fatu and Tonga. Like, we don't know what that group is moving forward because Solo has been destroyed.
And that's what I was saying.
Solo has zero credibility.
That's what I was saying earlier when I was like, the new Bloodline's almost been destroyed, but no, they really haven't, because they kind of made their presence felt the other night on.
Like, I think Jacob Fatu, like we talked about it in last week's podcast, the other night when he did his "I love you" solo, and the whole crowd was saying it with him, like
it's an over moment.
It's a Jacob Fatu is crazy, man. The Samoan Werewolf is a persona that was in the Indies. People said when he comes to WWE, is he going to play ball? Is he going to do what he's doing? And boy, has he ever. I think he's shocked the world. And Tama Tonga has done really well as kind of that crazy psycho guy. The other Tonga has been, I don't care too much. He's hurt now.
He's hurt right now.
But there's a lot of people that got hurt in that War Games match.
Right.
That we're not going to see for a little bit. Like Brunson Reed, like when he comes back, what's his situation going to be?
Yeah.
How much longer, like, Paul Heyman's famous, we're in the bottom of the third of the Bloodline. Well, I think we might be in the bottom of the eighth right now. Like, I think we're coming to I don't want to say coming to an end, but where are they going to go? Because The Rock coming out and the way he was the other night tells me he's not going to be at WrestleMania.
No.
If you're going to be at WrestleMania, why do you not come out as the final boss?
Right. Yeah, he should have came out as the final boss and been like dominant. Yeah, he came in as like I said, the CEO or whatever he is on the board.
As a business.
The head of whatever the corporation's called.
Stroke the audience.
Yep.
Like, I understand if he started that way just because it was the first 5 minutes of a new era, but the big thing would have been like afterwards, he had the opportunity to make a statement with the Ulafala. Like he could have, like you said, rock bottom Roman, put the Ulafala around his neck and left the arena.
Yeah, and then you don't have. I mean, as far as like the way I'm thinking of it is, then like now the Rock's in charge of the Ulafala. And you still haven't completely buried Solo, I guess, at that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have.
There's no way Solo can come back.
They buried him at War Games when they assassinated him, and we both said it.
He's going to have to come back groggling and acknowledge Roman Reigns.
Right.
I mean...
And they'll probably do that with him. And that might be a storyline they can go with where he's the new Jay, where Roman just abuses him over and over and over again. Gets the,
Because right now, like, I don't think Jay needs anything to do with...
But maybe we've just told the whole Bloodline story. Like you just said, maybe we are just in the bottom of the eighth. And
like, Jey Uso does not need the Bloodline.
No, and they've done a really good job. He's done a really good job of separating himself.
Like, I'd like to see Jey Uso have some more individual success. I know he won the Intercontinental belt, and they kind of everybody expected him to lose that match because he was going back to the Bloodline.
To the big story.
But now, like...
The thing is, the Bloodline can always be there. So if they take a break from it for a while, that's okay too.
Yeah.
Like, that family has been in wrestling since before time. And like you said, there's so many members. Like, so we're not done with the story. Maybe this was just this chapter over the last few years, and we may not see it again for a while. And that's okay too, because there's other stories they can move on to. Maybe we've just been selfishly wanting it to go the way we want it to or keep going, but, sometimes stories go along too long, go too far, and you need a little break from it before you get back to it. It's like a good series you watch on TV,
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where...
But at the same time, then, is Roman, like, is he still the OTC now? Is that his character gimmick? Because if they doesn't have his followers,
Well, you notice...
What the hell does that matter?
You notice after the match, they called him the only tribal chief. The ring announcer announced him as the only tribal chief.
Oh, man, I must have just...
Yeah, it was kind of a very unique thing. But yeah, they announced him as the only tribal chief.
And Paul Heyman showed up on SmackDown just as like an advocate that he's supposed to be, with no hidden intentions, telling Cody that Roman's going to enter the Rumble.
Are we going to get Brock Lesnar back at some point? Are we going to get, like we said, it's moving forward now. It's the reset button has been pushed. The Netflix button has been pushed.
So let's
go forward.
Erase everything that just happened in the last year or even two.
Yeah.
And now we're moving forward.
Yeah.
And things are going to go in a whole new direction. I'm excited to see it. Who knows what that entails, but I'm sure they've got a plan.
Yeah. I mean, it's set up for...
And we'll be here to fucking talk about it.
Yeah, man. We got, and we have... Not just moving on NXT, we moved to Wednesday night. We got AEW. We had a massive return back to AEW TV and Kenny Omega, man.
Yeah, Kenny Omega's back.
Came out, fucked up the Don Callis family. You've got a new number one contender for Moxley's title, and Powerhouse Hobbs wins the Casino Battle Royal to get that. I mean, he had a little fun with Renee Paquette in the interview, kind of giving Moxley some, giving her husband some shit. I know they're not really husband and wife on TV, but everybody knows it. It's not a secret. But the Death Riders are in trouble, man. You got Adam Copeland coming out. I mean, Adam Copeland is going to mess that match up. Powerhouse Hobbs is not going to win the AEW championship. It's not going to happen.
Right. And
I think it's because, they're going to let Adam Copeland probably come out and destroy Moxley again. You got Omega came out, destroyed the he got after Don Callis a little bit. But what's in store for Kenny Omega? He was at, Wrestle Kingdom, Wrestle Dynasty in New Japan over the last weekend. But he's back on TV. Where do they go with him?
So let's talk about this. With AEW, because we've had so much, not faith, but once AEW was first announced, and they've had good moments in time over in that promotion, but then it just gets destroyed. Do you now have faith? Because they have a ton of talent on that roster.
Faith is a strong word. I think that
we're Jags fans, and Tony Khan's the fucking owner and runner of AEW.
He's a lot better running a wrestling promotion than he is running a football franchise. But I think the problem with AEW is their whole thing is the wrestlers need to have input in the stories. No, they don't. Very little.
And I think I even saw an interview with Cody that it was recently that he talked about his time in AEW and him starting it, and he said it just got so messy because of that with the Young Bucks and everybody wanting to feel like they were the ones who were the reason for the immediate success and different things like that. And you can't have, they always say, you can't have the prisoners running the asylum. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying, you have to have direction from the top.
Yeah. And I think that's where AEW falls apart a little bit. It's because when you let the wrestler, because the wrestler is going to do what he wants to do.
Right.
He's not going to listen to the overall story.
Of what
he wants to go over every single night in front of the fans.
Exactly.
That's what they want. Why wouldn't you? Mm-hmm. But they got a problem tonight. A Collision is in Georgia, and they got the massive storm. They got a ton of flight delays, and they're gonna they got guys driving to the show. They got a lot of issues tonight.
That's right. There's a lot of bad weather
tonight,
going on.
you got Adam Copeland versus Big Bill, who's the old Big Cass. Jericho versus Dax Harwood. That's going to be good. Rated FTR is all over this show tonight. And Collision is usually not a massive show for them. But tonight, I think what we're going to get going, they have till March to build up their next pay-per-view, AEW Revolution. So I think, next week with Powerhouse Hobbs and Moxley going for the belt, I think that's where Adam Copeland makes his deal. And you really start to see at Rated FTR versus the Death Riders. I think that's going to be something awesome. Awesome.
Oh, I believe it will be too.
And what does Kenny Omega do? The Young Bucks, they won the IWGP heavyweight tag belts at New Japan at Wrestle Dynasty last week. There's a lot of stuff going on AEW. It's like you're getting your butts kicked right now again. Tony Storm's back in the picture to go for Mariah May. You've got a lot of things happening. Look at the Freebirds. They're looking rough, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Women's Casino Gauntlet match next Wednesday. You got a lot of stuff happening.
There's so much potential over there, and they're doing some things really well, because I've been paying a little bit of... I haven't been watching the show, but I've been watching stuff on YouTube and just seeing, the stuff that Moxley and Orange Cassidy went through.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of good things, a lot of good talent.
When Orange Cassidy, when AEW first started, Orange Cassidy was kind of just a secondary player, but even Cody Rhodes, he even said, he goes, there's big plans for Orange Cassidy. Like, he is special, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And he's doing his thing. You got, the biggest star over there, MJF.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I mean. There's so much talent.
Yeah.
I mean, listen to all the guys you've just listed, that we've listed from WWE past to guys
I did see that there was an announcement today that Malachi Black is probably not coming back to AEW.
Oh, really?
So the House of Black's going to be done.
And that was the Aleister Black.
Yeah, because you saw there was a great match to kick off the show on AEW. Buddy Matthews. Who did he wrestle?
Buddy Matthews was who?
Who's Buddy Murphy.
Yep.
Yeah, who's Rhea Ripley's husband.
Mm-hmm.
But you got... I'm trying to pull up that amazing match that they had to start, to kick off the show. There's Maximum Carnage next Wednesday. That's what they're calling it. You got Jeff Jarrett and MJF in a little story.
Really?
Yeah, and it's good, MJF is trying to get Jeff Jarrett fired up. And Jarrett's got his whole TNA crew. He's got Jay Lethal, he's got Sanjay Dutt, and he's got his wife there. So there's a lot of things going on there. That's kind of like
Jay Lethal. What was it? When he was like?
He was like the Macho
Man.
Oh yeah, Kenny Omega's fighting Brian Cage, one of the Don Callis family guys, next week.
Yeah.
So that's going to get interesting. So he's going to have his hands full with Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega's going to have his hands full with the Don Callis family. Brian Cage, not a big fan of him, but he is a big dude, big strong dude. Only a matter of time before Tony Storm gets back with their. Swerve Strickland, nasty, got destroyed the other night, bloodied like crazy. But that opening match, I'm drawing a blank here. The opening match the other night to AEW.
Must not have been that good.
No, it was great. Buddy Matthews. Yeah, Buddy Matthews, awesome stuff. There's the whole crew. Sanjay Dutt, Jay Lethal.
Yep.
It was Don Callis came out. That was great. Kenny Omega destroyed everyone in that night. Tony Storm's back. Now I like how she's going as classic Tony Storm instead of timeless Tony Storm. I think she's really resurrected her career and made that really nice.
I like last night on SmackDown when Tiffy was not Tiffy time. She's on the Tiffy top of what she's got going on.
Yeah.
She can play all kinds of things. And man, her outfit was something else, wasn't it?
Kenny loves him some Tiffy time.
You know what I like too is Chelsea Green.
Yeah.
She had a good win last night. Little shenanigans, pulling of the tights.
Yeah.
Little interference from the...
I'm an idiot. It was Will Ospreay. I'm an idiot. Yeah. So, you had two of the best guys in the business right now. Will Ospreay is unbelievable, and they put on a great match. Buddy Matthews has been underserved in his career.
I thought he was going to be a rising star in WWE when he was there as Buddy Murphy.
And then, he had that nice little program with Sheamus where they had some great matches. Sheamus is famous for like these little like 3-match storylines, like what he did with Ludwig Kaiser, which I can't wait to. Is him and Braun's thing gonna get going again? They kind of got shoved to the side with Raw and Netflix, but now it's time to bring it back.
Yep.
And is it gonna be like, I don't know where these championships are gonna be.
Yeah.
Like, is Gunther now on SmackDown? Like, I don't know. You
We'll
can't
see.
have both titles on.
I think this Monday night's Raw will probably kind of set the tone even more of the true direction going forward.
Yeah.
I think that first Netflix was a closeout to things. I think some things will carry over. Bloodline's definitely Roman winning again. He's the tribal chief.
Yeah.
That's it. So.
Yeah, you gotta. Moving into Thursday night, you've got TNA. You've got pay-per-view right around the corner. Nick Nemeth still running the show down there.
Yep.
The old Dolph Ziggler, if you don't know. He's actually, he was the co-host this week on Busted Open with LaGreca. And he's awesome. You got Tessa Blanchard, who's back, who kind of came and she went through all her stuff to face Jordan Grace. You got the huge Hardy. The Hardys are back. I thought Jeff Hardy's going to be on Chris Van Fleet's podcast. That'll be very interesting. Joe Hendry's doing his thing down there. Wrestling's in a good place right now, man.
It really is.
Yeah.
Some of these other promotions that had kind of been failing for a little, not failing, but not really putting on the show that keeps me interested, are now starting to have little storylines that I'm kind of starting to pay attention to. Like, I started looking up stuff on YouTube, and it's exciting to like get back into like having competition. And I don't even think it's competition because no one competes with the WWE.
Right.
And I think sometimes these other promotions need to realize that. Like, just put on a good show for your fucking promotion. Like,
yeah.
Don't worry about it. It'll come. The fans will switch over. The fans will watch.
And don't try to beat them.
Yeah.
Just try to put content out that everybody, like, we like to watch everything.
Yep.
Like, they're all doing something good. Like, AEW, yeah, from start to finish, is it a great show? No. But there's 3 or 4 storylines that have piqued my interest. TNA, you got guys like Joe Hendry that we're watching come out to the ring, who's really over right now. Nick Nemeth, a legend in our business. We talked about him last week as having one of the greatest cash-ins of all time on Money in the Bank.
Yep.
And now he's the champion. And you got look at the crowd react to Joe Hendry. I mean, this dude is unbelievable. We believe in Joe Hendry.
Yeah, I've seen him. Yeah, he's awesome.
Australian. Look, you still got Rhino in the ring.
Rhino's still going on.
Yeah, but now you got the Hardys. You just got so much talent spread out. I mean, even NWA. NWA doesn't have the same platform. It's more of a YouTube show.
Is that the one that Billy Corgan?
Yeah, Billy Corgan. Yeah. Apparently, there's a new YouTube special on Billy Corgan. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I Survived the Carney Life or something like that. And I want to watch it. I'm sure it's probably amazing. But Billy Corgan's story of Smashing Pumpkins to now owning NWA, one of the oldest organizations in the history of wrestling. And he's like, EC3 is there, like NWA.
Is that where he is?
Yeah. You got the problem with NWA. You got to watch it on YouTube. They don't have at least TNA is on Access TV. New Japan is right after them on you can catch all these things, but you have NWA, which has got great stories going. But problem is you gotta remember it. You gotta watch it on YouTube. And NWA is a little bit different. It's a studio show. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like a sitcom that you're watching in a live studio. It's always been like that. For the history of time, they've always been like that. Right. But wrestling from start to finish right now, from top to bottom, is so good. And as fans, what better time to do a wrestling podcast than right now?
Yeah, and you can see whatever, and that's the beauty of it, is you have old WWE people that you loved. They're in all other kind of promotions right now. Yeah. You can go follow them there. There's something for everybody, and it's just you got to kind of do your research and go look for it. But most of it's right there, right in front of you, like you said.
If you turn on one of these promotions, odds are, and you've only watched WWE your whole life, odds are you're going to recognize a lot of people. They might have different names,
He really
would.
Yeah.
But you'll recognize a lot of people. Like, Dolph Ziggler's now his real name of Nick Nemeth. And his brother's there, Ryan Nemeth. Like, they're all there. But in Moose, who's your boy, I know you love some Moose.
I didn't like Moose when he first came out.
But there's
doesn't he have like a faction over there?
There's a lot going on over there. Yeah. I have to say TNA is probably a show that I need to watch more of. Yeah. I do. I'm very top heavy, like main event. I don't necessarily. I need to watch a little bit more of them. Yeah, he's in a group called The System.
That's right. Yeah.
And they've got a lot of good guys over there.
Yep.
Yeah. And they got the Hardy Boys that are still kicking it over there. I want to see Jeff's interview with Chris Van Fleet. I'm sure it's going to be. He's got a lot to talk about, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Ron, the truth was on this past week, and he was really good. And they talked about, his comedic things, and they even talked about how he would love to turn heel again and be the Ron the Truth Killings again.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And, he's a crazy dude, that guy. But, I know we've got a great week ahead of us. We got, our first episodic television of Raw. Mm-hmm. They got to start, treating Raw as a TV show again.
Right.
You've got Maximum Carnage on AEW, and you're leading into Royal Rumble just a few weeks away.
Yeah,
you're going to start seeing tons of people start declaring for it, as we've already started this past week.
Right.
And speculation is who's going to be in it, who's going to win it, what they're going to do when they win it. I don't even know what show Gunther's even on right now.
I don't know.
I think he's moving to SmackDown.
I don't know where half the roster is right now, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what it was like the last month or so. It's just we're getting there, but we're here. We're finally here. They got to their Netflix on Raw Raw on Netflix was their thing.
Yeah.
I think they were just trying to get to that finish line, and now it's going.
Yep. No, we're ready for it. Lots of good stuff. We're excited. Our local promotion, PWR, that we talk about, they just announced My Bloody Valentine, February 23rd. Nice. Sunday, February 23rd. I don't know what it means, but on the Facebook page, they put Chris Carnage and Forrest Nystrom up there. They don't say they're going to wrestle, but they're up there. So that means both of them are going to be on the show that day, and we are going to try to get both of them in here right now to do this in the next couple of weeks to talk to them leading up to that, as well as your newly crowned PWR champion Shane the Element Evans.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. I hope we can get those guys on.
We want to get all three of those guys leading up to February 23rd. You've got My Bloody Valentine at OB's again. Setting up, PWR is on a roll. They had their biggest crowd of their existence the other last weekend.
Crowned the champ.
Crowned their first ever champ. Great wrestling all over the map on that. Lot of good stories. We'll see where that heads. I hope. I wonder if Shane's going to defend his title at My Bloody Valentine. Is Tiberius going to come back and try to get a little revenge on him, because it was amazing that Shane was able to finish that match with sustaining the injury. He did announce on social media that he did get hurt in that spot where he had some neck issues, but he was able to stand up, hold that belt up in front of his hometown. So we're hoping to get him on the show, talk to him a little bit about it, and then obviously talk to Chris Carnage and the beautiful Forrest Nystrom.
Yeah. The Millennial.
The entitled Millennial.
The Millennial.
Yeah, we will hopefully have those guys on leading up to My Bloody Valentine, which we will be there as we are. And soon to hopefully maybe do a live podcast on site. So
that'd be awesome.
Our relationship with PWR is really good, and we hope to continue it. And we get
good people over there.
All this great wrestling up in the week, and now in our backyard we have our own local independent wrestling.
That we get to go to,
which is awesome. We got so much wrestling going on, we don't even know what to do.
Yeah.
But we got. We're gonna call it a night. What do you say, KT?
I think we're good.
Call it an episode. Get ready for our new era starting next week.
Yep.
So we are appreciative of you guys following us, watching our episodes. We appreciate the
Keep
support.
liking, subscribing, comments.
You guys
let
are
us know
really,
anything you want us to talk about.
You guys are really supporting us. We're noticing it. Lots of listens, lots of watches, and we just gonna keep chugging out the content for you guys. Maybe even a new logo in the future. So
that's right. We've been working on some stuff.
We're heading into a new era for us too. So this show is taking off bigger than we imagined, and thanks to you guys. So in the great words, as always, we finish our episodes. Jackie Moon.
ELE.
Everybody love everybody. Peace.